Welcome and good afternoon. This is Commish Orr, and today we are playing Game 5 of the play-in series, the American League play-in series, for my Best of the Decades 1930s tournament using season ticket baseball. This is a game between the 1939 Boston Red Sox and the 1933 Washington Nationals, or Senators. If you'd like to call them the Senators, you're welcome to do so. The 1939 Boston Red Sox were the fifth-seeded team in this tournament. And I will enlarge this bracket so you can see it a little bit better. They are rated, this is according to the ALO ratings. You can find a list of top teams based on that rating through, I think, the 2015 or 2016 season. I can't remember which. In any event, the 1939 Red Sox are the 390th best team in baseball history. And the 33 Washington Nationals are the 74th best team in history, according to the ratings. And that makes them the number 4 and number 5 best American League teams in the 1930s. Now, only one team from a franchise can appear, so obviously you'd have probably more than one Yankees team, for example, if we allowed more than one team from the same franchise in a certain decade, but I limited it to just the top team of that franchise in the decade. And so that's what we have here. You can see in the National League that the 1939 Cincinnati Reds beat the 1938 Pittsburgh Pirates 3-1 in the best-of-5 series there. And so the Reds will be playing the 1935 Cubs, the top seeded National League team in the 1930s Best of the Decades tournament. The winner of this game today will face off against the 1939 New York Yankees, who are the number 1 overall best team in baseball history according to the rankings. So that's where we are today. And how did we get here? Well, Washington took a 2-0 lead in the series, needing only to win one more. But heading to Boston and Fenway Park, the Red Sox found a way to win the first game there, and they found a way to win the second game in dramatic fashion. Here's what the last game looked like here between these two teams. Washington scored a run in the third thanks to a sac fly by Ossie Bluage. And again, I'm going to state right here that I may get some of these name pronunciations incorrect because I wasn't around in the 1930s to know how they're said. In any event, Boston scored 2 runs in the fourth to go up 2-1 before Washington scored another run in the seventh to tie things up. We then went to extra innings. And in the top of the 10th, Washington scored on a sac fly from Dave Harris that put them up 3-2 heading into the bottom of the 10th. They brought in their relief man, Jack Russell, and he did not have a good day. Doc Kramer led off with a walk, and Jimmy Fox followed that with a double to put men on second and third with no outs. Ted Williams dribbled one back to the mound, and Russell could not handle it, allowing the tying run to score on the error. The infield was drawn in. Joe Cronin grounded out to short, and Fox stayed on third on that one. Then they intentionally walked Lou Finney to load the bases, which proved to be the downfall for Jack Russell, who, facing Joe Vosmick, Vosmick drew a walk to walk off the game, if you will, and Boston beat Washington 4-3. So that brings us to today. After a day of travel, these two teams are back at Griffith Stadium. And here's kind of what the stadium looked like back then, 1933. You can see deep left field line, and shorter to right field. Now I've already rolled using the die roller here. We had a 13. It's September. It's a night game, so that's 67 degrees. So we have no modifiers to the deep drives chart for that. We rolled an 8 here for rain, which makes clear skies here. And we rolled a 10, which means there is no noticeable wind. So it's a beautiful day at the ballpark here at Griffith Stadium. And we are gearing up as Lefty Grove faces off against Earl Whitehill from Washington. It's a rematch of the Game 1 starters. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. First, for Boston, the visiting team, we have Bobby Doerr at second base, Doc Kramer in center field, Jimmy Fox batting third at first base. We have Ted Williams in his rookie season. 1939 was his rookie season. Right field and batting cleanup. Joe Cronin playing shortstop and also managed the team that year. Lou Finney is the DH. We are playing with a DH, even though it's the American League, and it's back in the 30s when there was no DH in existence. But we are playing with the DH. Joe Vosmick, left fielder, and batting seventh. Jim Tabor batting eighth at third base. And finally, with the lefty on the mound, Gene DeSottles will be catching today. Right-handed catcher Gene DeSottles will be batting ninth and catching for Boston. As I said, Lefty Grove will be a starting pitcher for Boston today. And here is the lineup he will face and defensive positioning for Washington. Leading off is Buddy Meyer at second base. Heine Manouche is there playing left field, batting second. Goose Goslin is in right field, batting third. Joe Cronin, you may have remembered Joe Cronin was also playing for the Red Sox. He was also player manager for the Washington Senators this year, interestingly enough. And he's playing short for Washington. Fred Schulte is in center field and batting fifth. Joe Kuehl is batting sixth, I believe, and playing first base. Excuse me. Dave Harris follows him, and he is the DH today, I believe. Yes, he is the DH today. Ossie Bluage will be playing third base, batting eighth, I believe, and Luke Sewell will be catching and batting ninth for Washington. So you can kind of see how I have things set up when I play. We have ball score here to score the game. We have the lineups with the opposing pitcher right next to them. We have defense cheat sheet down here for the starters. And then we have my die roller down here for season ticket baseball that I've created to kind of help me along the way. Now, this is only the 9th game I have played of season ticket baseball, so it's quite possible, if not probable, that I may make some errors in somewhere in my interpretation of rules or runner advancement or whatever it is. But we will just chalk that up to umpire mistakes, if you will. I'm going to do my best, and we'll take it from there. I do have access here to the rules, the auto manager, which I'll use, a quick start, and rare plays. And again, this is only my 10th game, so you may see me referring to that stuff as we play through. All right. All that said, let's get to the first pitch here. Bobby Doerr against Earl Whitehill. That's a 327. 327. And that is a leadoff single, an infield single for Bobby Doerr, and he is on first base. Now, let's see. We will check the auto manager in order to steal. A runner on first, no outs. Maybe. Which means speed rating has to be equal or exceeding the catcher's arm, or the D20 is less than the steal. Well, his speed is 2. The catcher's arm is 5, so that's not going to work. And the 14 is not less than, he had a 0 steal, so he's not going anywhere. Doc Kramer steps up. 373. 373, and Kramer is going to fly out to Manouche there in left field. And that's out number 1. Jimmy Fox steps to the plate. 429. 429 for Fox, and he's going to draw a walk. And Whitehill in a little bit of a situation here. Runners in scoring position, first and second, 1 out, and up steps Ted Williams. Williams is hitting .353 in the tournament so far with 1 homer. 664 is a stadium check. They're the visiting team, so there's no modifier to that 664. And that is going to be a bloop single with less than 2 outs. That means the runners hold up to see if it's caught or not. But that's going to load the bases. So just like that, we have the bases loaded with 1 out. And Joe Cronin will step to the plate, trying to get the Red Sox on the board early. Washington will be just playing straight up here in hopes of getting that double play. 106. That becomes a 306, and Cronin is going to strike out looking on this one. Whitehill fools him with that pitch, and just like that, there are 2 down. Redirects lead to a strikeout looking. So redirects off the pitcher's card. Up steps Lou Finney. 2 outs, bases loaded. Boston trying to get something going here. 238. And 238 is not going to do it here. He is a lefty, and he pops that one up to third base. It's in fair territory. Bluage ranges under it, and just like that, Washington gets out of that jam with no damage done. Boston does get 2 base hits out of the deal, but they can't score a run there in the first inning. Hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt them later on. So we have Lefty Grove facing Buddy Meyer here to lead off for Washington. Grove was 15-4 with a 2.54 ERA that year in 23 starts and no relief appearances. He's clearly the best pitcher for the Red Sox. So he deals to Meyer. 698, that is going to be probably a deep fly, deep to center field. Yep. It's a deep drive to center field when we add 10 because it's the home team. And we will consult 8 plus the power rating of Buddy Meyer. That makes it a 10. And deep to center field, 10 is a single. Batter does have the option of trying to stretch that into a double, which this early, well, he's not going to because, well, maybe he is. That's a 1. And I believe that means he actually will try it. Runner advancement, no outs, trying to get to second. Maybe means runner's speed equals or exceeds the fielder's arm, which it does not, but the D20 is lower than the runner's speed. So Meyer is going to try to get something going here early. Let's look at the challenge. 13, which is these 3 dice added together, plus his speed, makes it a 16. 10 plus the arm of the center fielder Kramer is a 15. And just like that, Meyer stretches that single into a double to lead off the game. The throw was nearly in time, but Meyer was able to get in there safely. Taking a risk here early on. And that brings up Heine Manouche with no outs and Meyer on second. Now, if we look at the bunt, 6 minus 10, that's a -4. So he's not going to be bunting. 169. 169, and Manouche draws a walk. So Boston now in some trouble here. We have runners on first and second with no outs. Goslin steps up. Grove hoping to get out of this jam. He's in. 5:45. That's a defense check for second base. 5:45. That's Bobby Doerr, and a 5 means the only play he has is at first, unfortunately. And that's going to advance both Meyer and Manouche. So we have runners on second and third, just one down. And Cronin steps to the plate. No double play chance. They are going to bring the infield in. I know it's early, but they're going to bring the infield in and hope to stop an extra, that run from scoring here. 6:43 turns into a 6:53. And 3-1 with the infield in. I believe they're not. There's no force. Let's just check here. Let's take some time to just make sure we do this right. Infield in. They were not going to go on contact with no outs, or excuse me, with one out. So 3-1 becomes an unassisted with runner on third holding. So there we go. This early in the game, they're going to wait. And so Boston in a good position here. Fred Schulte will step in. 2 outs, runners on second and third still. Hoping to get something going. 248. 248, and he is a righty. That is going to be a right back to the pitcher. And Grove tosses over to first for out number 3. And so we have both teams squandering scoring opportunities here early on. We head to the second. Joe Vosmick facing off against Earl Whitehill. 6.99, and they're a visiting team, so there's no modifier to that. Vosmick is going to draw a walk, a leadoff walk to start off the second inning here. Teams are putting on some base runners. He's not going to be going, or even attempting it. Jim Tabor steps up. 206. That's going to become a 406. And a 406 for Tabor against a lefty pitcher is a 4-6 fielder's choice. And Tabor is now on first as Vosmick is forced there at second. Meyer flips it to Cronin. And that brings up DeSottles with 1 out. 520. That's a catcher. Sewell, 520. That's going to be a strikeout. So DeSottles goes down on strikes, and we now have 2 outs. And runner on first. We're back to the top of the order. 501. That's a rare play. Let's check the rare play chart here. Runner on first. 2 outs. 501. We're going to look at the chart on page 35. 33, 34, 35. Runner on first. And we'll go 665 for the rare play. 665. Wow, hidden ball trick. 665. Pitcher throws a pickoff throw to first. Runner dives back safely as runner standing up first base, fakes throw back to the pitcher. Runner on first steps off first base and is tagged out. That is definitely a rare play. Has that ever worked? It is back in the 1930s. So we'll take that one. Tabor is going to basically be picked off. Out at first. Assist by the pitcher and put out by the first baseman here. And just like that, we are heading to the bottom of the second. Lefty Grove facing Joe Kuehl here. 321. And he strikes him out. It's the first strikeout for Grove. Dave Harris steps to the plate. 105. That becomes a 305, and that's another strikeout. Grove strikes out the second batter in a row here. Aussie Bluage steps in. 353. And that is an F3, which is going to be a foul out to first. And that's a 1-2-3 inning here for Grove. We head to the top of the third. Still scoreless here in Washington. 560. And that's going to be a ground out to Cronin. Cronin over to Kuehl for out number 1. Doc Kramer steps in. 503, and we have another rare play. Another rare play. 503. Base is empty, so we're going to be on the regular pages here. And 678 is going to be our roll. 678. All right, where are we here? 678. E3, ground ball fielded by the third baseman, thrown to first, but the throw is dropped and the batter is safe. All right. So we have a reached on error. I'm not sure if it's going to let me. And maybe it will. Assist to third base, but error on the first baseman. There we go. All right, so that brings up Jimmy Fox. Kuehl couldn't hold on to that one. Let's just make sure Kramer's not going to go anywhere. And Jimmy Fox. 468. 468 is going to be a single to center field. That's Schulte out there. Kramer not with a lot of speed, so he's going to hold at second. So once again, we have runners on base here. Scoring position for Ted Williams with 1 out. Should have been 2 outs. 610, that's going to be a stadium check. And it's going to be a pop-up there to second base. That's an easy pop-up. Meyer hauls that one in for out number 2, so Williams not able to get anything going here. Brings up Joe Cronin with 2 outs. 304, and he strikes him out. That's the second strikeout for Cronin, this time swinging. And just like that, we're into the bottom of the third. Grove facing the bottom of the order. Sewell, 451. And he strikes out Sewell. That's the third strikeout in the last 4 batters for Grove. Seems like he's found a groove a little bit here, but it does bring up the top of the order, Buddy Meyer. 173. And Meyer draws a walk. So he's on with 1 out. Takes first base. He's not going to go anywhere. Brings up Heine Manouche. 690. That's going to turn into a 700 with the home team batting, which is another walk. It's the second walk for Manouche and the second walk this inning for Washington. Runners on first and second here. Goose Goslin steps to the plate. Goslin did hit 297 that year, but he's only hitting 118 this tournament. 507, and once again we have a rare play. This time with runners on first and second. First and second. 507 is going to be in the regular rare play section. And 294 is what we're going to look at. 294. 294 is a single to left field. Could be a fielding error here if the white die is higher than the fielding rating of the left fielder. So the left fielder is Vosmick. I'm actually going to look at his card here. There's Vosmick. The white die is a 0, so we don't have to worry, or excuse me, it's a 9. That is going to be higher. So single 2 with 2 pluses means a single 2 bases. And then he's going to take second on the error. Batter advances a second on a fielding error. So we're going to have a single 2 bases to start things off. That's going to score the first run of the game here. And then we're going to have the runner advancing to second on an error. Runner breached second because of an error. And that's going to be a throwing error by the left fielder, I believe, is what it said. Let's just double check. A fielding error. All right, so it's an error on the left fielder here. All right, so 1 run scores. Washington's up 1-0. And not only does 1 run score, but there are runners on second and third with just 1 out. Defense going to be playing straight up, so this inning doesn't get too far out of hand, I believe. And Joe Cronin will step to the plate. 447. He is a lefty. That's going to be a single to center field. That's going to score Manouche, and Goslin holds up at third. Grove really in some trouble here in the 3rd inning. Cronin is not going to go anywhere. So we have runners on the corners with Fred Schulte up. Boston hoping for the double play here. Runners, they'll be playing straight up here. 187. And that's not good. That's a bloop single. That's going to score another run. Cronin, though, holds up at second. And we have runners on first and second now. Washington up 3-0 here. They've really been getting to Grove here, even though, I mean, Grove didn't do himself any favors with those 2 walks. First and second, Joe Kuehl up. Still only 1 out. 2:05. That turns into a 4:05. And Kuehl is going to draw a walk. That's Grove's 3rd walk of the inning. And that loads the bases. There's already activity in the Boston bullpen. Grove trying what he can do to get out of this inning. Dave Harris steps to the plate. 5:27. That's a catcher defense here. And that's going to be a pop-up to the catcher. Just what they needed here. That hopefully will get them out of here sooner. As DeSottles ranges under that one to catch it. And that's 2 down now. Bases still loaded, though, for Aussie Bluidge. 3:01, and that's a strikeout. So, no more damage done, but 3 runs may be enough anyway. Grove gets his 4th strikeout of the game, but a big inning for Washington. Whitehill faces Finney to lead off the 4th inning here. 3:49. And that is a line out to the 3rd baseman. Line out there to Bluidge at 3rd for out number 1. Whenever there's a 9 here, that makes it a line out, by the way. Vosmick steps in. 4:40. And 440 is going to be a ground out to short. Routine play here. Cronin over to Kuehl for out number 2. Jim Tabor steps in. 348. That's going to be an infield single here for Tabor. So, once again, Whitehill not able to get a 1-2-3 inning. And that brings up DeSottles here. 665. We'll see if that's anything. 665. That's going to be a bloop single. With 2 outs, that means Tabor will take third on that base hit. Boston trying to get something going here. And they're back to the top of the order with 2 down. And runners on the corners. 416. But that's going to be all they get, as that's an easy grounder for Cronin, who flips to Meyer for out number 3. So once again, Whitehill escaping the inning. We head to the bottom of the 4th. Grove still in there. He'll be facing Sewell to lead things off. 273, and that's going to be he's a righty. 553. 553, that's third baseman. Let's see here. Tabor, that's an easy grounder to third for out number 1. Back to the top of the order here, Buddy Meyer. He is 1 for 1. Scored there in the 3rd when he drew that walk that kind of led things off. 551. It's another easy grounder to Tabor there at 3rd. And that's 2 up and 2 down. We head to Heine Manouche. 554. Another grounder to 3rd and another easy grounder. That's a 1-2-3 inning, just what Grove needed. We head to the 5th inning. Washington still up 3-0. Doc Kramer steps to the plate. 552. That's another grounder to 3rd. Bluidge has an easy shot at this one. Jimmy Fox steps in. 275. 275. Fox is a righty. He is going to pop that one out to short. Not quite able to get enough of that one. And that brings up Ted Williams. Williams 1 for 2 in this game. 368 on the tournament. 266. That turns into a 546, which is going to be a base hit as it gets past Meyer. Williams into first base here. He's not going to go anywhere. And brings up Joe Cronin. 108. It becomes a 308, and Cronin strikes out for the 3rd time this game. Not what you need out of your number 5 hitter. We head to the bottom of the 5th. That will bring up Goose Goslin against Lefty Grove. 693 turns into a 703 with the home team batting. That's a deep center field. Only a 2 plus 6. That's an 8. Deep to center field, an 8. That's actually going to be a double. And the batter has the option of taking third. That was to center field. His running is not higher than the arm, nor is it higher, or is this lower. So he's going to hold up at second, but still a leadoff double for Goose Goslin. And that brings up Joe Cronin here. 424. The lefty, that's going to be a strikeout, and that's strikeout number 5 for Grove. Fred Schulte steps in. 111. That becomes a 311. And that's going to be a fly out to center field. Kramer's under that one. Gosselin will hold at second base. So we have 2 down and Kuehl up. 360. And that's going to be a foul out to third. Tabor under that one. And we are into the 6th inning now. Washington still with a 3-0 lead. Whitehill's stamina is 6, so he won't be subject to fatigue until after this inning. Lou Finney steps in. 234. And that's our routine grounder to Meyer at second, who flips over to Kuehl for out number 1. Joe Vosmick steps to the plate. 320. And that is a fly out to center field. Takes Schulte back a little bit, but he's able to catch up with it. And that's out number 2. Tabor. He's only hit 235 on the tournament. 536. That's going to be a base hit. Just past the glove of Kuehl at first. And Tabor's 2 for 3 today. DeSoto steps in. He's 1 for 2. He's hitting 286 on the tournament. 2 for 7. 294. That is going to be a deep drive to left. 13. DeSoto's not with any power. Deep to left, 13. That's going to just be a fly out to left field. As Manouche under that one. And that will end the inning. DeSoto's not with any power. And we head to the bottom of the 6th. And Grove's stamina is 7, so actually he wouldn't even have to check until after the 7th inning. Or if he gives up a couple more runs, he would be subject to fatigue as well. Of course, in a Game 5 like this, they may not wait for that. But he's calmed down after that rough 3rd inning. 300 and against Dave Harris, and he strikes out Harris. That's strikeout number 6 for Grove. Brings up Aussie Bluage. 263. Bluage is a righty, so that's going to be a grounder to short. Cronin over to Fox for out number 2. 2 down, nobody on. 222 for Sewell, who's a righty, and he strikes him out too. That's strikeout number 7 for Grove. 1 rough inning, but 5 other good innings for Grove. Unfortunately, that rough inning may be all it takes, unless the Boston offense can get something going here. We have the leadoff hitter, Bobby Doer, up to the plate, facing off against Whitehill, who is subject to fatigue starting this inning. 355, so they'll be keeping an eye on him. That's an easy grounder to third. Bluage over to Kuehl for out number 1. Kramer steps in. He's 0 for 3 today. But he is hitting 350 on the series. 697. He has no levels of fatigue, so that is going to just be 697 straight up, which is a triple. So Kramer into third base, and Boston threatening to score here. That run is not important, so they're just going to be playing straight up here with facing Jimmy Fox. 176. And that one gets past Sewell. Not able to get a glove on it. And that will score Kramer from third on that wild pitch. So it's 3-1 now. But the bases are now empty for Fox. 460. That's going to be another triple. That one into the gap too. Back-to-back triples here for Boston. Once again, they'll be playing straight up here. Ted Williams at the plate. Fox with another chance to score a second run this inning. There is some activity in the bullpen for Washington, as Whitehill has 2 levels of fatigue now. And that does come into play here, as 695 will turn into a 715, which is a deep drive, 13 plus 9. This isn't looking good, folks. 22. Deep to center. 22. Oh, Griffith Stadium, though, has a very deep center field. But it will be deep enough to score Fox. So that's a sac fly. That was the center field, right? Yep. That's a sac fly to center. Williams definitely got all of that one. But here at Griffith Stadium, not enough to get it out of the park. So that brings up Cronin. Nobody on now, but Boston's cut this lead to 3-2. 5:53, and that's going to be a grounder to third. Bluidge takes that one to Kuehl for the third out, and the first at bat that Cronin didn't strike out this game. So, 7th inning stretch, and we do have a game again here as Washington leads Boston only 3-2. Grove has allowed only 5 hits this game. He's walked a few, though. 4. He's walked 4. He's going to still be in there. He's actually wouldn't be subject to fatigue until next inning. He faces off the top of the order, starting with Buddy Meyer. That will be a 668. 668 is going to be a base hit here. A leadoff single for Meyer. Now, Boston does have Grove on a little bit of a short leash here so that the game doesn't get out of hand again. 5 is not going to be high enough, or low enough for Meyer to take a risk here. Does bring up Manouche. 284. 284. That is going to be a deep drive to right. 11 plus Manouche's power of 2 is 13. Deep to right field, 13. Deep right, 13. That's just going to be a flyout, though. Williams under that one. And Meyer stays at first. Goslin steps in. 568. That's a high number, and that's going to be an error on Cronin. It's not what they needed here. We have runners on first and second now. And Cronin, the Washington Cronin, steps to the plate. 364. That is going to be a fielder's choice at second, 6-4. Cronin, the Boston Cronin, flips to Bobby Doerr for this one. And that's out number 2. But Meyer does take third on the play. And that brings up Fred Schulte. He's not going to go anywhere. Cronin's not going anywhere. 277. And that's a 6. He's a righty. 5-4-3. Actually, with 2 outs, that will just be a grounder. Tabor throws over to Fox to end the inning. We head to the top of the 8th. Whitehill will stay in there for now. Against Finney to lead things off. 265. That will become, with the lefty, 545. 545 is going to be a grounder to second. Barely. Meyer barely able to get a hold of that one. And he throws over to Kuehl for out number 1. Joe Vosmick steps in. 662 becomes 682 with the fatigue. And that's going to be a base hit. So Vosmick takes first base. He represents the tying run. He's not going to go anywhere. And Jim Tabor steps in. He's 2 for 3 today. 524. And that is going to be a foul out to the catcher. Tabor pops that one back behind home plate. And Sewell underneath that one. DeSottles is 1 for 3 today. They may pinch hit here for him. They probably will. They do have... yeah, I think they are going to pinch hit for him. Bose Berger is on the bench. And so Berger will pinch hit for DeSottles here. Berger did only have 30 at-bats that year, but he hit 300. Whitehill trying to get out of the inning. 215 will become a 415. And he strikes out Berger. So Berger not able to get anything done here. And since that was a redirect, that was a strikeout looking. So Whitehill gets out of that one. That brings in Peacock to catch. And he will also take over the number 9 spot if he gets back to that place in the order. All right, we head to the bottom of the 8th. Grove has actually been pitching well other than one bad inning. So for now, he's going to be out there to face Kuehl. He would be subject to fatigue this inning. 502 is a rare play. A lot of rare plays this game, surprisingly. Base is empty, so it's just going to be a general rare play. 389. So 389. 389. Single to center field. If the white die is higher than the center fielder's fielding, the batter advances to second on a fielding error. So it's at least going to be a single. And if the white die, which was an 8, most likely that is higher than Kramer's fielding. Barely. So that's going to be a single in error. Single and second on the error. All right. So, Kuehl, runner in scoring position here. There we go. That will also be one level of fatigue for Grove. That may be enough for them to turn to the bullpen. It'll be 7th inning for Grove. 7 innings for Grove if he comes out, which he probably will, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, I think Emerson Dickman will come in. All right. We will bring in Emerson Dickman here. And he is a righty. He'll face Dave Harris to lead things off here. Kuehl is on second base. 350. That's going to be an infield base hit. So Washington threatening again here. Runners on the corners. Harris isn't going anywhere. That 3 is above his steal. And Peacock's arm is a 4, so he's not going to go anywhere. They're going to play for the double play, actually. 421. 421, and that's what they'll get. They'll get a 6-4-3 double play. 6-4-3 double play. Unfortunately, Kuehl will score on that play. And we'll have to see if that run is earned or not here. We'll come back to that one. As Dickman faces off against Sewell. 684 becomes a 694 because it's the home team. 694 is going to be a triple. So that run is going to be earned because he would have scored anyway. And we have Sewell on third base as Buddy Meyer steps in. 180. And that's a bloop base hit that's going to score Sewell there. And just like that, Washington is up to a 3-run lead, 5-2. Jaime Manouche, 577. And that's going to be a double. A bases clearing double. Double plus is a long double with all runners scoring. So Manouche drives in Buddy Meyer. And just like that, another inning has gotten out of hand here for Boston. They're going to see if Dickman can get one more out here against Goslin. 110 becomes a 310, and he strikes him out. So that is out number 3, but not before Washington gets 3 more runs. And they take a commanding 6-2 lead into the 9th. Boston down to their last inning here, potentially. And Whitehill will be coming out of the game. He did everything that he could do. Pitching 8 strong innings. And they're not going to waste anybody too great here. Russell pitched last. McAfee is not good. Alex McCall looks like will be the pitcher. He's actually pretty good. All right, let's bring in Alex McCall here. He is a right-handed pitcher, and he will face the top of the order for Boston. Boston hoping to get something going this inning. 5:15 is a comebacker to the pitcher. McCall able to get a hold of that one, and he throws over to Kuehl for out number 1. Doc Kramer steps in. He had that triple in the 7th that led to a couple of Boston runs. He's hitting 381 on the tournament. 127. But this time he flies out to Manouche in left, and Boston is down to their final out. Jimmy Fox, 2 for 3 today with a triple. 444 on the tournament. And he's their last hope right now. 250. And that's going to be a grounder to second, and Meyer's going to take that one over to Kuehl for the third out. And Boston has been eliminated from the 1930s Best of the Decades tournament, 6-2 by the Washington Nationals. Boston, 2 runs on 10 hits. They committed 3 errors. Washington, 6 runs on 11 hits, and they committed 1 error themselves. Grove will pick up the loss in this one, and Whitehill picks up the win. Much the same as game 1. And let's take a look and see who the potential player of the game is here. Buddy Meyer in the leadoff spot was 3 for 4 with an RBI. Manouche was 1 for 3 with an RBI. Goslin was 2 for 5 with an RBI. Cronin 1 for 4 with an RBI. Schulte 1 for 4 with an RBI. So the RBIs were spread out pretty well there. Each of the first 5 hitters had one. Actually, we probably are going to give this one to Whitehill, who limited Boston to just 2 runs in his 8 innings of work. He did get into some trouble a couple of times, but was able to pitch out of it. He had 5 strikeouts in 8 innings. He did allow 10 hits over that time. But I believe he would get player of the game honors in this one. And let's see, this run could have potentially been unearned, but would have scored anyway, so it's earned. Just double checking the earned run situation here. And same with this one. Even though there is a single and error here, that runner also would have scored. Now, there was another error. There's another error somewhere in the game, because Boston had 3 errors. Oh, here it is. Here's the error right here. That one, there was no run scored there. So that's where we leave things. Washington will advance to play the Yankees in the next round, and Boston will go home empty-handed in this one. So that's the last we'll see of rookie Ted Williams, unfortunately. Yeah, if we look at the lineup here, Meyer is hitting 409 in the tournament. Manouche hitting 350. Goslin's only hitting 190. And Cronin's only hitting 150. Schulte's hitting 333. Kuehl's hitting 278. And Harrison 235. And Bluidge is only hitting 158. And Sewell in the number 9 spot's hitting 316, excuse me. So Washington, a decent amount of offense, though they've only hit, I don't think they've hit a home run. Yeah, it doesn't look like any of their starters have a homer. That's kind of an oddity. So there you have it. Hopefully you enjoyed that game. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Be watching. Head over to baseballmaelstrom.com to follow the action of the tournament, and be watching for the next round. Starting with the next round, it's double series elimination. So unfortunately for Boston, the play-in series was not double elimination. So they go home with having just lost 1 series. But all the teams from this point forward are double elimination series. So they have to lose 2 series to be out of it. So be watching for that. Thank you so much for watching today. And until next time, have a great evening.